The Underdog PGA Best Ball edition of the Golf Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog. Underdog is hooking up new customers. Play just $5 and get $75 in bonus funds when you sign up with code SGPN. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this first edition solo show. Talking about the scramble or any best ball on Underdog for the PGA season. The 2026 PGA season. We're moments away from the Sony Open field being released. I think the lobbies are going to go crazy once people solidify who's going to be in this first event. Just a little breakdown of these Underdog best ball drafts. If you haven't got into any of them yet, obviously you can get into them up until the Sony Open starts. But basically there are 6 teams who draft in a snake format, your standard draft. You get 12 golfers each, and the best ball part of it is 6 golfers for each event will get points. So there are 4 different rounds with different tournaments in each one. The first round is obviously the most important. Well, all of them are the most important. All of them are important if you want to cash and if you want to cash big. But getting out of round 1 alive and making sure that you just advance is probably more important than anything else. So the first round, like I said, will start at the Sony on January 15th. We then go to the American Express, which I'll get to in a little bit, but their social media, Instagram, Twitter has been amazing at letting everybody know who's in the field at the American Express. Usually it's not as strong as it is going to be this year, but we're getting a lot of good info, so it's making it a lot easier to plan for that event. Third, we have the Farmers Insurance Open, then the Waste Management Phoenix Open. After those first 4 events, we have back-to-back signature events, the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am and the Genesis Invitational, and then the first round closes out on March 1st at the Cognizant Classic. The Masters is in the second round, the PGA Championship is in the third round, and then both the U.S. Open and the Open Championship are in the 4th round. I have a lot of spreadsheets that kind of show which guys are in which majors, which guys I project to play some of the first 2 rounds of events. I kind of stopped at Valero, but if you want any access to that, I don't mind sharing it. Just shoot me a DM on Twitter or comment on this video and I can try and get it over to you. Like I said, it's going to be a little weird once Sony field comes out. A lot of people are going to be more knowledgeable on who's going to play in that field, obviously. But going back to the American Express, like I said, the socials have been fantastic. We just found out a little bit ago here on Friday the 9th that Ludwig Ober is going to be playing in the American Express, which was probably one of the more shocking ones to me. Scotty Scheffler is also going to be there. Justin Rose. They've announced that Sam Burns, Patrick Cantlay, and Tom Kim will all be there. Zalatoris. Those 4 guys played in it last year, so not too much of a shock when we're talking about Burns, Cantlay, Tom Kim, and Zal. Max Homa, Luke Clanton, Robert McIntyre, who looks to have a busy schedule and has moved up quite a bit in my rankings. Billy Horschel, Tony Finau, Adam Scott, Wyndham Clark, Sepp Straka, the 2025 American Express champion, Akshay Bhatia, Ricky Fowler, Ben Griffin, Brian Harmon. So very long list. Very elite players for the most part. We usually don't see this strong of a field at the American Express. So very shocked to see Ludwig there. I didn't have him. I didn't have Ludwig playing an event. Well, I had him at the Farmers, but I didn't have him playing anything until Genesis and Pebble, the signature events. So good to see that. Hopefully he can play 4 events in the first round, and his stock should rise quite a bit for committing to the American Express. So I'm going to talk about my strategy, kind of how I've been going about this. You can do it in a much better way. The Sony Open field just dropped as we speak, so I'm going to be peeking at that a little bit. Looks like Robert McIntyre is in, Ben Griffin. Who we got? I'm shocked Zalatoris is not in it. There's a list of All right, sorry. This is for another time. I knew this was going to distract me, but let's get back to the Underdog thing. a lot of different ways you can kind of go about this. Looking at the fields, projecting which events these guys are going to be into can be very difficult, but you just want to make sure that you have 6 guys in each event, especially the signature events. You're going to want to have 6 or 7 guys in that signature event just to make sure. There are 50 guys who qualify for all of the signature events. There's other stipulations that can get you into them, obviously, like the Aon Top 10, the Aon Swing 5. The top 10 are already decided for the first 2 signature events, which would get you through round 1. Those 10 guys are Sammy Velamaki, Max Grazerman, Garrick Higo, Rico Hoy, who I've been drafting a ton, Nico Echeverria, Aldrich Potgieter, Chris Kirk, Aaron Rye, Minwoo Lee, Max McGreevy. Those 10 guys make up the, well, I guess what would be 59 players who can get into Pebble and the Genesis. I say 59 and not 60 because we know Thomas Dietrich is headed over to Live. They don't just backfill that spot. Dietrich had a win, obviously, ended up top 50 in the FedEx Cup standings, would have gotten into all the signature events, but he's cashing in, going over to Live. So 59 guys we know of that will play in those. And then you're basically just going to want to play high volume guys. I think this year, 2026, more than ever, I guess with the exception of last year, but now people know what the stakes are. With the PGA trimming it down to only the top 100 FedEx Cup standings, getting their PGA Tour card instead of the top 125, it puts a lot more pressure on some of these guys to regain membership. You can kind of look and see who's exempt through like which year, who has the potential to lose their card after this year if they don't get a win, if they don't finish inside the top 100. So a lot of pressure. I think these rookies are going to play in every single event that they can. You'll learn a lot from guys who go over to the Sony Open, guys who go over to Hawaii, especially without the Century being over there this year, is going to speak volumes. I think a lot of guys who play Sony, you can probably expect to play 22 as a floor, I would say. I mean, with the exception of some guys, I'm just kind of throwing a number out there, but guys who aren't in the signature events, expect them to play in every single event that they can. That's just kind of the way it's going to go, especially, like I said, with the way the tour cards are going. And it's harder to get a card through or full membership through the Korn Ferry Tour. They kind of went from 25 to 30 to 25 to 30. I lose track of when they changed that, but obviously this year it went down to the top 20 Korn Ferry Tour players got their PGA Tour card. So these guys don't want to go back down to the Korn Ferry Tour and work their way back up after they already got here. The best way to get inside the top 100 or win a PGA Tour tournament is to play as much as possible. It's as simple as that. So I'm looking at high volume guys. That's really what you want to do in these underdog drafts. You want to go through and see who's going to play the most, who's going to give you the most opportunity to get 6 guys who are scoring extremely high. I kind of look back at, I played around with 2 or 3 lineups last year in the best ball. I didn't go as crazy as I am this year. Not that I'm maxing out the 150 this year, but last year, looking at some of my results, it was like the Farmers Insurance Open. I know, for example, I only had 2 of my 10 guys play in that. I finished, I think, 3rd or 4th out of my 6-person pod. Doesn't get you through. Only the top 1 in the scramble gets through. So we drafted 10 golfers last year. Underdog changed that to 12 golfers this year. I would like to see them in the future kind of either get more. Well, yeah, I would like them to start with getting more teams in these drafts. I think there are just way too many people who are going undrafted in these underdog leagues that you could really expand it to 10 with 12 guys. Screw it. There's enough guys with the PGA Tour membership who can play. It would really press people. It would really test their knowledge. It might take forever. That's the one good thing about these drafts. And I'm going to hop into a live one here shortly, but that's the one good thing about these drafts. It takes 8 minutes or so. I mean, they go by pretty fast. You can rip a bunch of them off. So I know some people just kind of auto draft. I don't really like that. I like to have control of who's going to be on my team. But yeah. Speaking of SGPN, you can get access to all of our free picks and podcasts in one convenient place at the SGPN app. Download it for free in your app store. Just type in SGPN. A lot of good stuff over there. Obviously, Golf Gambling Podcast going to get going this week here with the Sony. But yeah, let's get to it. I will join one of these PGA scramble leagues. Might be throwing $10 away since everyone probably is looking at the Sony field, and I really haven't got a chance to dissect it. That was kind of my concern doing it at this time, but here we are. So draft is starting in 50 seconds. Let me share my screen. Let's see here. Let's go full screen so you guys get the absolute best view. So picking in the 2-hole. Right now, I currently have Robert McIntyre ranked second. I'm taking Scotty or Robert McIntyre here. Bobby Mack's ADP has jumped like crazy. I was getting him in the second round pretty much whenever I wanted to. Now that's not the case. He's a first round draft pick. It's obviously clear that he's going to play a heavy schedule. I don't think he's going to. I don't know. I didn't expect him to play Sony and Amex, but here we are. So I think I'm going to take Bob Mack at 2, assuming Scotty Scheffler goes number 1. There he goes. So we'll take Robert McIntyre at number 2. Talking about my rankings, I have Sungjae Im ranked pretty high. He's usually the guy that I come back with here. You can see that he's down here at 11-2 ADP. He should make it all the way back to me. Sam Burns just went at 3. That is exactly how I have it ranked. I have Cam Young 4th. So if this guy takes Cam Young 4, then maybe he has access to my rankings. Nope, Ben Griffin, obviously a high volume guy. So, but yeah, like I said, looking for guys who are going to play quite a bit. I have Robert McIntyre right now, going to play a heavy schedule. We already kind of mentioned that. I'm going to go on my spreadsheet on the side. I know you guys can't see this, but just to make sure, like looking at Bobby Mack, Sony and Amex, I don't have him playing Farmers. I have him playing Phoenix and then the 2 signatures. So we have holes at Farmers and Cognizant right now. And the reason I have Sungjae as high as I do is because he plays Farmers and Cognizant. At least he did last year. So that is probably where I would hope to go, except he just went. So that shoots that down. I do like Cam Young. Who else is Cognizant? I have Straka playing there. Harry Hall might be a pretty good one. So yeah, we're up in 3 picks. I'm going to go Cam Young, Straka, Harry Hall in that order. I would assume I'll get either Cam Young or Straka. If I don't, Michael Kim's always a good option. His ADP's kind of got out of hand for me. I understand that he's playing really good golf. He did play really good golf, and it makes sense. But oh yes, Cam Young, that is huge. Big fan. So, like I said, my rankings, I have Bob Mack 2, Cam Young 4. So I got 2 of my top 4 guys. You can't beat that. Already on the clock. Can't even really process anything, but I'm going to take Harry Hall. And then I actually am going to take Ludwig. Oh, God. I don't know why I thought I was up back-to-back. That's okay. I probably should have taken Ludwig right there, but that's okay. Harry Hall's more of a volume guy, and it's easier to get guys who are in the majors later on. This is very hard doing a draft live, guys. I've really never done this, and I am struggling with it, but we're getting through it. So looking at the team, like I said, I got Sony and Amex covered with Bobby Mack. I have the Cognizant covered with Harry Hall and Cam Young. I need some Farmers, guys. So looking down the board a little bit, Sam Stevens, I think Taylor Pendrith plays a ton. Michael Brennan, Rico Hoy. Let's see who else I have projected for Farmers. McNeely. I don't know. Some of these guys, it's tough. Akshay withdrew from Farmers last year. I have so much Akshay. His ADP just hasn't adjusted. So he's very easy to get. I'm going to hold off on him. And we're going to go with Mav. I like that Mavs in all the signatures. I was very high on him heading into last year. It's not like he played bad, but he definitely wasn't. He didn't live up to his expectations, I wouldn't say. So high hopes for Mavs, still pretty young. All right, so I have Jacob Bridgman ranked pretty high. He plays in just about everything he can. I wish I had time to look at the Sony field. I don't. So we are going to take Jacob Bridgman. I have Akshay ranked higher. I maybe shouldn't have risked it, but look how far down the board he is. Like, let's just wait it out, see if Akshay falls to us, which he should. But yeah, in these drafts, you have to get a little bit different with the way that you go about these drafts. Colin and Victor go extremely late. Huge on Davis Thompson, so I'll cue these guys. Kind of talk about some guys as we go down the board. Marco Penn should get into the first, either one or two signature events from being the top DP World Tour guy to come out. Max Homa, while people don't really realize it, like he's not in the signature events like he was last year. But Max Homa, from everything he's won, he's exempt on the PGA Tour through 2028. So people have been saying like, oh yeah, Max is going to play a ton. He might not. He just might not play a lot because he really doesn't have to, I guess. I mean, I think he's going to play what he wants to, but he's not at risk of losing his PGA Tour card. So I'm not sure that he's exactly just going to play every single event. So, all right, here we are. I would have considered Ryan Gerard if he just didn't go before me. But like I said, I have Akshay ranked really high. I'm going to go with Bhatia right here. For reference, I have him ranked 11th. Maybe that's too high, but like I said, you got to get different with your rankings. You got to do some crazy things. And that's, I guess, where I got a little bit crazy. So going with him there. We're up again. I am going to take Sami Välimäki. He's in the first two signature events. I think he's going to have to play a ton to kind of remain in these signature events if he wants to. Looking at it right now, wow, he's not playing in the Sony. That shocks me. Maybe I'm looking at this all wrong, but either way, Välimäki's in the first two signature events. I have plenty of signature guys, so all 7 of my guys can play in the first two. Now we are going to chase some guys who are going to play in these down events. I do kind of want to chase some of these guys who are going to be higher up in majors. Obviously, Bob Mack, Cam Young should give me at least a chance in the majors. Akshay is going to be at most of them, but I want guys who are going to play in all 4, like a Colin or Victor. I'll probably get one of the 2, kind of see who falls. Wyndham Clark, surprisingly, is in all 4 majors. He must have just went. Where's Mr. Wyndham Clark? Yeah, 6-1 he went. So he went a while ago, but that's a guy who always stands out as a decent value to me. Max McGreevy, I mentioned, was in that Aon next 10. I think Davis Thompson plays a ton. I'm pretty high on Davis Thompson again this year. I'll be high on Davis Thompson for the rest of eternity until he hangs them up. But 26 years old, we're going Davis Thompson. He's not exempt into the signature events like he was last year. He didn't take a light schedule last year. I showed Davis Thompson played 27 events last year while being in the signature. So quite a bit. Don't mind that at all. Looking down the board, I am running out of time, but let's take Theegala. Another guy, not in any of the signature events. We're chasing volume. Before Theegala kind of scratched the surface and became who he is, or I guess who he was last year or heading into the last 2 years, he was playing 30 plus times. He was playing right around 30 times. I think he's going to have to get right back into that. We've seen interviews that he said he didn't feel exactly healthy, didn't feel great. So hopefully feels refreshed, works his way back into the majors, works his way into some of these signature events. High hopes for Sahith heading into 2026. Tom Kim plays a lot, is going to have to play a lot. Pearson Coody. The schedule that Pearson Coody played last year is extremely underrated. Doesn't look like you can open up too much info, but he played like 17 PGA Tour events and 15 Korn Ferry Tour events. almost gained status by playing part-time on both tours, which is insane. If that tells you anything, I don't think he's going to want to lose his card again. So you can keep that in the back of your mind. But we're going to go with Tom Kim here. I'm chasing guys who need to prove something. Davis Thompson, Sahith Theegala, Tom Kim, 3 guys who were absolutely huge heading into last year and kind of fell short. So why not go with those guys there? Might need some guys who can qualify for the majors. Rasmus is in 3 of them. He's in all the signatures. We're just going to take Rasmus. I got one more. I'm either going to take Cootie or Clanton if I can. Like I said, I could crunch it down way more than I am. I don't have the time to process how many guys I have in each event. I'm just kind of guessing at this point and taking guys who I expect to play very large schedules. Vince Whaley plays a ton. He played 30 plus last year. Started playing some really good golf in the fall. But like you can see, like there's a lot of guys that like Justin Thomas. If I didn't have some of the guys in majors, JT might be a decent guy to take here. It's very hard to project these schedules. It's hard to take Justin Thomas when you don't know how much he's exactly going to play. Will Zalatoris is another interesting one who I've taken down the line, but some of these teams are going to look ugly. Like you're not going to love every single team. I don't know. It's you got to get a perfect match or a perfect mix of guys who you just think is going to play a lot, guys who you think are going to do well. I like Pearson Cootie's profile. We'll take him with the 12th pick, and that does it. So, like I said, guys, thank you for joining. I hope this helped a little bit. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out as always. Feel free to comment. We got a few more days to do these drafts, so take advantage of them. Have fun with it. It's $10 to enter. It's a best ball. You draft, and you're pretty much done. You just let it ride. But there is the team. We will recap it real quick. Robert McIntyre, Cameron Young, Harry Hall, Maverick McNeely, Jacob Bridgman, Akshay Bhatia. Love getting Bhatia at the 35th pick. Sammy Valimaki, Davis Thompson, Sahith Theegala, Tom Kim, Rasmus Højgaard, Pearson Cootie. So there we have it, guys. Appreciate you guys watching. Looking forward to a great 2026 season. Me and Matt should be back soon this week to record for the Sony Open. Until then, good luck, and we'll see you.